All right, guys, what's good? Welcome to another edition of Live Wire Sports Media. I am your host with the most, Live Wire itself. This is your Freelance Friday edition. Um, Now we know how close Kate Martin and Caitlin Clark are. They played in college together. They're friends off the court. They always share a lot of thoughts and um great memories with each other. Sometimes when our Hawkeyes have something, they all get together and come there. But now, since they have entered the WNBA, their careers have totally take a different path. Kate Martin started out she was there to support her friend at the draft, and she ended up getting drafted a year ago. Not unexpectedly, and maybe she probably would have got drafted by the Indiana Fever, but the Las Vegas Aces snatched her up. And now, she spent one season with the Las Vegas Aces, had coming off the bench and everything. She did play that rival over this year. Now she got picked up by the Golden State Valkyries. So Kate Martin's career has been nothing more than um I say astonishing. Having one of the most popular jerseys out there, um, you know, setting her own path for herself outside of her friend Caitlin Clark. She never thought that, but she was able to sit down with Sue Bird and talk about numerous things. And she talked about, players should stay off of social media. She even talked about the first time when Caitlin Clark was getting recruited, was coming into Iowa, and her thoughts on it. It's pretty funny though, and everything like that. So take a listen.
First impressions of her when she got to campus?
Yeah, she had come on a couple visits, and she was like a big name in Iowa. So I had heard about her. I wasn't from Iowa, so I didn't know as much. And that like all Iowa Attack like AAU program is like so big, and I had I'd never heard of it.
Yeah, I haven't heard of it.
Yeah, and so I was like, oh, whatever. But it's like a big thing in Iowa, and so I had heard about this Caitlin Clark, and I was like watching videos of her just like having like 40 points, like averaging a million in high school. And I was like, oh, this girl thinks she's going to come here and rule the world, like whatever. It's going to be, whatever. And there she did, came in right away and ruled the world. And I was like, all right, here we go. Here we go.
So that's pretty good to see because, like I said, Caitlin Clark, she came in. She was the big star. She was the big fish for Iowa, and a lot of them probably felt like, hey, we got recruited here. We get a chance to show who we were. We wonder who this Caitlin Clark was, and yeah, she's a big name and she did all of this, but can she do it at this type of level in college and stuff like that? And everybody want to make their name. And that's how it goes in sports. A big name come in and you feel threatened, you probably feel a little slightly like, hey, I'm here too. I got recruited here too, you know. But nonetheless, you see what happened after that. You see what was able to um take place with Kate Martin and Caitlin Clark. Now, Kate also went on to say how Caitlin Clark work ethic is. Now, we all know what Caitlin Clark work ethic look like. We all know how she is. She's a stickler for perfection. She doesn't like missing games, which she has now in her pro career. She doesn't like to have bad games. She's a competitor. She loves to win at anything. I don't even care if it's a game of Uno or whatever it is, or pickleball. She's very competitive. So Kate Martin did took the with Sue Bird again and talked about her work ethic. Take a listen.
Real quick, what did you notice about Caitlin's like work ethic?
Yeah.
Was there anything that stood out?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, she was in the gym constantly.
Yeah.
And it was like the way she approached everything too was like, it was like with a sort of excellence. It wasn't like, oh, I'm just going to go through the motions and like whatever. It was like, no, like I'm here to kick your butt in every single drill, every single practice. Like, and especially whenever our like gray squad guys were playing against us, it was like if you're across from me, you're my enemy, you know?
Right.
And like, I think that's just kind of how you have to approach things to get better. And she had that, you know, next level mindset, and it really just raised us all up with her.
And that, and you already know how the story ended from that point on, because Kate Martin, like I said, was able to get drafted. Gabby Marshall, all of them, they was all locked in. What Caitlin Clark brought to the team, what she was able to do, the level of play she raised. And a lot of people always question, say, well, Caitlin Clark don't make her teammates better. Well, guess what? Would Kate Martin be able to get drafted into the WNBA? I don't think so. I don't think she would have, because she would probably chose a different route. She probably would have did something else. But having a person like that, that is so perfection and so great, and she probably would, there was times you heard her and Kate Martin, had a little, friendly banter back and forth in practice. But guess what? That raised Kate Martin's game. That made Caitlin Clark raise her game. That made her teammates raise their game a little bit more. Because at the end of the day, that's what you need. You need somebody like that. You need somebody to come in to be that leader, that vocal leader. Not being a snob or think you better than them, but hey, this is how I play. This is how I like to play. This is how I want everybody to play. Because you understand that, especially when Caitlin Clark got drafted to the Indiana Fever last year. And when she came in, she had to learn her teammates. See, her teammates at Iowa, they've been together for 4 years. 4 years. And they was able to learn each other from year one and got better each year, got better each year, got better each year. And that's what she brought to the Indiana Fever, because guess what? Kelsey Mitchell felt that same way. Erica Wheeler felt that same way. Even Aaliyah Boston felt that same way. She was a number one pick. And then you got a new number one pick in there, the talk of the town, the NCAA leading scorer and assist leader. And now everybody wanted to humble her down, like, hey, this the pros, you're not in college anymore. But guess what? Now everybody loves her. Everybody sees what she is. Her IQ high. Even Kelsey Mitchell talk about it. So these are the things that makes a great person great, because of who they are and what they brought to the table. And Kate Martin nailed everything on the head about Caitlin Clark. From the time she walked in the door in college until now, she see the same thing with her in the pro. And guess what? That probably made Kate Martin an even better person along the way. And look at her pro career. So when people say Caitlin Clark doesn't make her teammates better, I think it's a bunch of hogwash. I think it's pretty asinine for people to sit back and just don't understand what kind of person Caitlin Clark is. You know what I'm saying? They just want to have these crazy takes just to make it seem like they know what they're talking about. But good stuff from Kate Martin and Sue Bird, you know. And I'm glad. I think this is the first time I think Sue Bird actually was on the. I mean, have Kate Martin on there. Probably, they probably talked time before. And she always went on to say that, when Sue Bird came to the campus, because people was trying to figure out who was coming. And she did say that Caitlin Clark was so anxious and stuff like that. So that was a pretty good moment too for the Iowa girls to get to see Sue Bird for the first time. So anyway, let me know what you think about Kate Martin. Talked about her best friend on and off the court, Caitlin Clark with Sue Bird. Until then, like, comment, subscribe. Until the next episode, you know what it is, because what? If you don't know, now you know. Live Wire out.
Hey, so amazing. You see how they playing? Live Wire, it's all about sports and entertainment. You don't want to miss it, so official like you never seen. Keep it going till the whistle blowing from the referee. Everything from highlights and stats. You know that we gotta run it back, whether on the field or the court. You know that this is where it's at. Subscribe, no delaying. This is Live Wire, sports and entertainment. Let's go.